Hi everyone, and welcome to another new edition of the new feature update, the quarterly update, where at Kissflow we take a look at what we've been releasing product wise in the last 3 months and get a chance to walk through it. My name is Ezrala, and I'm a member of the product marketing team at Kissflow. Now, if you've been paying attention at all, you'll know that we've had a pretty big release a couple of weeks ago. So we got a ton of really cool stuff to go through today. But before we hop on to that, for anyone that is new to one of these webinars, I just really want to quickly give you a heads up of how you can interact with us today. First and foremost, as Nandini has already mentioned, please take a look at our community and sign up if you haven't already, if you aren't already a part of it. It's a great place to stay on top of everything related to Kissflow, get your doubts cleared, and interact with us. Sometimes there are prizes attached to your activity, so it's going to be great. So go on ahead and access it. Also, we love questions at the end of the webinar. We regularly try and take some time to do some Q&A. So you can submit a question via the Q&A panel at any point during the webinar. It will be on your right side of your screen. And speaking of questions, I just want to let everyone know here that the number one question that we always get is, can I come back and look at this later on? Would we get a recording of this webinar? And the answer is yes. We will be sending out the link to the recording of this webinar afterwards. So if you have to drop early or you want to come back and review later, no problem. If you have co-workers that wanted to attend, couldn't, no problem. You can share the link with them. We'll get this to your inbox. Yeah. All right. So now let's walk through our topics today. Mostly we're going to focus on the new feature that's updates that's come out over the last quarter. I'm going to have some slides for you as well, as I want to jump into the product itself and actually walk through some use cases and demonstrations of how these new features work. I also want to make sure that you have the right learning resources, and for this, the best place to look into would be our help docs. It's helpdocs.kissflow.com. Head over there and look for any documentation you might want on these features. Before we go ahead with these features, for those of you who are new to Kissflow, I always like to start with by answering this question: what is Kissflow? And the best way to think about what Kissflow is to really think about the problem we see in the world, in the market, and how we're trying to solve them. Now, traditionally, business teams depend on IT teams to build a variety of custom apps. Conventional software development methodologies are now unable to keep pace with the speed and scope of these needs. Additionally, what happens is most businesses grapple with a lack of adequate personnel and skills that are necessary to develop and maintain these efforts, which leads to an increasing gap between business and IT. Now, Kissflow solves exactly this problem. You have the power of no code that answers to your process building, project management needs, and the power of low code, wherein you can build full featured applications with the help of AI without having to start from scratch. Now, the key point here is that you don't need a huge team of developers or engineers, which is essentially your IT, to build the massive applications that's very key to your businesses. Now, as a business user, you may be a lead in HR or finance or the business in itself, but you know exactly what you want out of an app or a process. You are exactly at the center of the problem, and you want to solve, and you know how to get there, right? You are more functionally adept. You know the bottlenecks. You know exactly how you want to get to the finish line. Now, instead of being dependent on an IT team or a band of developers, wherein the application will definitely take about 6 months to see the light of day, because let's face it, IT team is already drowning with requests and requirements from various functions. But what if you have the tools to build it yourself, something that does not require a lot of coding skills and gets the job done in a couple of weeks rather than months, right? This is exactly how we solve the problem, and this is what Kissflow does. Now, if you're more interested in checking out low code and no code, head down to kissflow.com/events to check out our in-house experts talk about how we are solving digital transformation with Kissflow. Some really interesting conversations there. You're going to love it. All right, now with that, let's get into the product update. Now we have some really cool stuff to work with. If you're a user of apps, you're gonna love this. The first one is the app to app lookup and local variables, right? This first one is a lookup feature that allows other applications to fetch information from your current application. You can link multiple apps to your application to provide various levels of lookup permissions to enable them to retrieve data or make it available in your application. Now, if you remember from our previous update, we spoke about external portals, how you build apps and it can be accessed by anyone outside your organization. Now, this feature, in addition to other applications, giving permissions to link applications in your account, which will also allow you to link portals to your applications. So let me quickly show you how this can be done, right? So I have with me an employee management application. And now this particular application contains all the information of all the employees in your organization. Right now we're creating another application called leave management, right? So I'm just gonna look up leave management. Now you've created this application to track employees' leave requests. Now in this case, you'll need the employee details in the leave management app to track requests and approvals. Now instead of creating a data set with employee details in the leave management app, you can link it to employee management app and provide necessary permissions for leave management to perform a lookup from the employee management app, right? I'm going to show you how exactly we do this. Now you go to settings, go to security settings, and then you have you will have a list of linked apps and portals that can access and retrieve information from this app, right? So what I'm going to do is go back to employee management. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link an app here, right? I'm going to search for leave management. I'm going to click next. Now select this app's data sources and specify the lookup actions that the leave management can access, right? So let's say I want everything about the employee details, right? That's exactly what I want. So I have permissions here, like either I can allow for all form fields to be looked up or select form fields, right? I'm going to show you both. I want all form fields from employee, and I also want some features from, let's say, the departments, right? So I'm going to choose select form fields that I want out of the department. So I'm going to add the department ID. I'm going to do department head user, and yeah, that's it. Done. So now what happens is leave management is linked to employee management. This is how you link to applications to lookup. Now the really cool benefits that you get out of this is the lookup feature will reduce your need to create similar data sets, right, in multiple apps. So if you're essentially reducing data redundancy and the risk of using potentially out of date information, so you can always be assured that your data set is always updated, so you're using fully updated data. Now, when handling critical data, you have the leeway to define a single application as an authentic data source and allow the data to flow into other applications in a controlled manner. Now, what we've done in this case, we've chosen employee management, which has all the details related to the employee, and you're using this as a single source of truth for all the people operations related applications that you might be building. You can use employee management as a base to build leave management, shift or scheduling. You can build employee confirmation. You can link employee movement. So all of these will use employee management as a single source of truth for its data. Right. So moving on to local variables. If you're a user of apps, you'll know global variables. The variable scope is global, and every form or any board, anywhere you will have to use data, the app can access it. Right. Any change in the global variable, it will affect wherever it is used inside the app, and it is active in the app's memory for the entire time the app is in use. Now, local variable offer a limited scope compared to global variable. Using local variables can help you manage memory usage, it can increase your processing speed, and also improve your app's overall performance. Right? Now, to define a local variable, you can do it directly in the page within the app. So let me show you how to do it. For example, I have an IT management system app here with me. An IT admin might want to keep track of the total number of IT assets that's available in the company, to manage existing assets, effectively. Now, to do this, what they can do is they can store the count in a global variable called asset master count. So let me go to variables. I have the asset master count, right? This variable can be accessed and used anywhere within the application, right? Now, when you want to retrieve the asset count for a particular department alone, what the admin can do is create an individual page for the department and use local variables for this process. So I'm going to go to pages. I'm going to take, let's say, I'm just going to take a test page, which has already been built or in the process of being built. What I do is I see that no local variables has been defined yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and define a local variable called asset count, and then let me define this for HR. Now this data type is a number, so I'm just going to add this local variable. Now this local variable is accessible only within this page, right? So when you add a page component, like for example, let's say a button or a label, let's say I want to add a button or a label, you can use this particular, you can use asset count HR as a variable inside the field as a dynamic value. Now, once the application is deployed, these variables will render during an app session. So let's say you've built the app and you're deploying it to your domain, your work platform. This will render during the app session, right? And that's local variables. Now, moving on to the next one, AI suggested fields. It's my favorite part. Unlike the basic and advanced fields that you have within a form which need to be configured, the AI suggested fields are populated within the relevant, with the help of the relevant field name and field type, right? Let me show this in action. I'm gonna go back. Actually, let me start creating a new process. Let's call it a budget request. Here you have it. You have the AI suggested fields here. Now what this field does is it populates all the field names that you might need for this particular process in this case, right? So instead of you having to build and configure fields from scratch, you have everything that might be needed for this particular process, right? So all you have to do is drag and drop and start configuring it. Now let's say you also want something specific to inventory inside this. So I'm just looking for fields related to inventory. So what I do is I give it inventory. Just gonna give it a couple of seconds to, yeah. Maybe not inventory. Let me look into asset request. So what I have is all the relevant fields that I might need to raise a request. So let's say you have a separate section here which is related to asset details. What you can do is go into this, just drag and drop stuff, and then you can start configuring these fields. Now, this is exciting because this is one of the first AI features that Kissflow has come out, and you will see manifold of new features that's coming out, which is thoroughly powered by AI in the next couple of quarters, and I will show it to you during the roadmap section of this webinar. So this is it. This is AI suggested fields. You can always go and refresh the fields. You'll get more fields that's related to this particular request. You can keep changing suggestions if you want multiple sections related to different sort of requests. You can always go ahead and give a different process, and you will get everything related to that particular a particular request. So this is AI suggested fields for you. There you go. On to the next one. We have the copy and paste action in integration. Now, this feature allows you to duplicate an existing action. You can copy and paste above or below any action in the same integration. Now, this has been built to make sure that your time and effort of manually creating an existing action within an integration is saved. Now, what happens is the newly duplicated action will have the same configuration as the original action, except for this name. You can always update the name. It will default, it will mention copy of the particular action, and which you can say which you can change later. So I'm going to quickly show you how it's done. I have an integration here, a process to sales order. It's been built. Now I want to create and submit a new item in the Kissflow process once an item enters this step, right? So I do want it after this block, but I also want this here. Now what I do is I'm just going to quickly go copy, and you will see a sort of a dotted line around. It's a way to tell you that this has been copied, it's on the clipboard, and it will give you various places where you can actually paste it, right? Some of the places that would be the right place to paste it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click it to paste it here. Now, as you can see, it's create and submit a new item. It says copy of create and submit a new item. So I can always go and edit it and say create and submit a new item once initiated, or something of that sort, right? So this is what a copy and paste or a duplicating action inside an integration works. The next feature we're going to look into is edit and rerun integration instances. So all this while, whenever your integration fails, you have to go into the output data to see exactly where the failure has happened, and then you have to go fix it. I mean, it's a lot of hassle. So in order to save time and to give better flexibility and control over failed integrations. What we've done right now is you can edit and rerun integration instances by editing the payload alone. Like, you know exactly, it'll throw you an error exactly where it is in where the error is inside the integration, and all you have to do is edit that one line alone and immediately run it to make sure that it is a success. So I want to quickly show you how this can be done for your integrations. So I have my integration here, edit and rerun demo, but I find from my run history that it failed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly edit the payload, and it's going to tell me, okay, so this is exactly where the error is. So I know exactly what I want to change here. I'm just going to let's get this guy out here. I'm going to replace it with what I want to, and then I'm going to rerun. Let's give it a second. Well, it's rerun successfully, right? So I'm gonna close this, and yeah, so the payload was edited and the integration has run successfully. So this is what you can do with editing and rerunning your integration. All right, moving on, let's step into our connectors that went live over the last quarter. First one up is the Salesforce. Now, we all know what Salesforce is all about. It's a CRM software. It's focused on sales and customer service, marketing automation, and app development, right? Now, the Salesforce connector that we've come out with enables you to connect and sync your Salesforce account, your folders and files with Kissflow apps. Now, to use this, all you need is a valid Salesforce account and be a paid Kissflow customer to access this, right? So I'm going to quickly show you how to set this up. All you have to do is go to integrations, you know where integrations is. You can create a new integration. I've set one up already. So what I'm going to do is, here's a scenario, right? So let's say you are you run an online store through Shopify. You can create a new opportunity in Salesforce each time a new sale occurs. Sale occurs, you can update this in Salesforce using the webhooks and the Salesforce connector as your action. Now, what I'm going to do is let's search for Salesforce. I'm going to create a new opportunity. So my action is, I've chosen Salesforce, I've created an opportunity. The next is authentication. Here is where you choose your account. I've chosen mine, and then you configure what needs to be done. So I'm going to call this new opportunity, right? Let me choose the closing date as 16th. I'm gonna call this a qualification. I'm just gonna enter the deal value in, just gonna put 100, right? And I'm just gonna do next, right? So now you can test this action, and it's a success. So you've created this, you've connected Kissflow integration with your Salesforce. You can take a look at your Salesforce, and a new opportunity would have been created there. So don't forget to turn on your integration once you've created it, and every time it runs, and every time a deal comes through, when an item enters a step, and a new opportunity is created in your Salesforce. The next connector that we're going to look at is Asana. We all know what Asana is. It's a web and mobile work management platform. It's to help your teams organize, track, and manage work. It's essentially a project management app. Now, let's say your organization is using this. We've created this connector especially for organizations using Asana heavily as a project management tool. So let me quickly show you how you can integrate Asana with your Kissflow process. Right, so I have a very simple process that I've created, which is nothing but a task note for Asana. It's a very simple one. I've just given a task name and task date. I want to show you how the integration works. So we're just going to go ahead and build a new one. So I'm going to create a new integration called task notes for Asana. All right. Yeah. All right. First, you want to choose a trigger, which is a Kissflow process. So every time a new item is created, so I've set a trigger, I've authenticated to my account. So I'm setting up a configuration, which is, this is my process, and I'm gonna quickly test this trigger. Okay, done. Now, what I want to do is every time an item is created within a process inside Kissflow, I wanted to open a task note, sort of a card inside my project management app or whatever project management app that I'm using inside Asana, right? So what I'm going to do is search for a connector, which is Asana. I'm gonna create a task. You have, as you see, you have many actions here. So what I'm gonna do is create a task. Now I've chosen Asana as my connector. I've chosen action, create a task. Now next, what you want to do is authenticate it. Now I already have an Asana account, so I've integrated that here. Once that is done, I'm gonna configure this. So so I'm just gonna call it Kissflow.com project. It's task notes and section. I wanted to create a card in the to do section, right? So I'm just gonna click this, and a task name is a sample, right? That's it. You can go ahead and configure all of this in case you want to add more fields to this configuration, but I'm just going to click next, and I'm going to test this action. Right now this is done, so I'm going to turn on this integration. I'm going to go back to task notes for Asana. I'm just going to create a new item. I'm going to call this a test sample task. I'm going to give a date to this. I'm going to submit it. So I've submitted a form here in this process. Now let me check if it's here. So now it's created a sample for me here. So this is how you integrate Asana with Kissflow for your processes. All right, moving on to our next connector, we have Xero. Xero is a cloud-based accounting software for small and medium businesses. Now, what they do is they offer bookkeeping services like invoicing, payroll, and an option to connect the application to a live bank feed. You can create payments, you can manage your contacts, you can track your cash flow, you can claim expenses, and more with Xero. Right, so now Kissflow's Xero connector, it lets you connect with Xero in case you're using it very quickly, and you can securely share data from Kissflow into Xero. So let me quickly show you how this can be set up. All right, so I've created a very simple process called Contact for Xero. It's just to show you how this is done. Right now, I'm going to go create an integration I've created a process that will create a contact for me in Xero. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to integrate this with my Xero account, right? So I'm going to go just a name. I'm going to look for a Kissflow process, which is when an item is created. I'm authenticated. Let me choose the process, which is contact for Xero. I'm going to quickly test this trigger. Now for an action, I'm going to look for Zero, and here I have it. So I want to create a new contact in Zero, right? So I'm going to click this. I already have a Zero account, so I've added that. I'm authenticated inside. I'm going to configure this. So I choose Kissflow as my organization. My contact name can be a sample contact. You can go ahead and give in the fields for all of this, but I'm just going to go ahead and click next. I'm going to quickly test this action and done. So I'm going to turn on this integration. I'm going to go back and I'm going to create a contact. So I'm just going to say Acme Corp, and it is into manufacturing. So let me go into Zero. I'm going to quickly refresh this. And here I have it. A sample contact has been created. Yes. And this is how you integrate Zero with Kissflow. All right, moving on to the next and the final feature that we will be looking at today. It's account governance. Boy, I'm really happy to talk about governance. This is our latest addition to the band of features that went out last quarter. And I want to take some time to talk a little bit about governance and why it's important, right? So you'll find in the market that when you see low-code platforms, no-code platforms like Kissflow, which is specifically targeting citizen developers, business leaders who can develop your own applications, automate workflows. You're essentially taking away the spotlight from IT and giving it to the business users. Here you give them the tools to build it for themselves, right? Now what happens is you also need to make sure that the platform provides a good governance mechanism to ensure that citizen development does not turn into shadow IT. Now the problem is when there is an ungoverned citizen development, it can lead to a complex app portfolio of disconnected systems and applications that are difficult to track and very hard to maintain, and not to mention the risk of data leaks and other security vulnerabilities. We've seen it time and again happening in very large enterprise organizations, and we want to mitigate those risks, right? So that's exactly what we're trying to solve with the governance capability in Kissflow. Now, this governance is available for super admins. You will be able to have a look into everything that goes on into your Kissflow account from one place, and you can act on it. Now, you will be able to, sort of uphold your data security, your safeguarding sensitive information. You can get insights on all the users that you've added into this account, your groups, your flows, your data sets, your lists, your authentication keys. Everything that's involved in your Kissflow account is available for you in a dashboard like design, right? So I want to quickly show you how and where you can access this. Now you are in the what you have to do is go to your profile, and you'll be able to see account governance here. Just click on it and voila. So what exactly are you getting out of this governance, this dashboard like governance page? Now you get three important things, right? So you get to uphold your compliance and standards for using this application. Now, when you have governance practices in place, you can make sure that your data integrity, you can establish a framework, to make sure that it's responsible for and compliant for your operations. you can mitigate and protect your data, mitigate risks and protect your data from any sort of a critical issue. You can actively monitor the activities that happen within the account, and also detect any abnormalities even before it can go haywire. All right, so this is how this page looks like. You have a look into all the users, uh, your super admins, billing admin, and all the users that you have inside. You will also have a list of process creators so far, board creators, and application creators. Right, so I'm going to go a little bit into this. I want to show you what happens when you click on one of the super admins or a user. You will be able to get a list of everything they've been involved in. So you get everything right from the day they've been added on till the day they were last signed in, how many processes and boards or app they've created, all the flows that they've created and they're admin and they're a part of, the user groups. This person Charu is part of admins and also part of the entire organization, the number of data sets that's been created. So you can take a look at all the data sets that's been created for the flows, the number of lists that's been created, integrations and integrations that's been created, and you can also look at the status of all the integrations. Some are off, some are on, so which means most of them are in working condition. You can look at all the connectors that's been used so far. You can take a look at all the connectors here. Authentication keys, this is very important. So all the authentication keys that were taken and which are in use, you can take a look at that. And you have active sessions, like where do they normally log into, their IP address, all these data. So download log, any file that's been downloaded, anything that's been printed off directly from Kissflow's account, and your export log, your audit log, all of this in one single console, right? You can take a look at everything that they've been working on over the past since the time they've been added into Kissflow, into the Kissflow account. You can take a look at every little audit log that they've been working on. So this will give you a better idea of your users and what they're up to, and it's easier for you to figure out, okay, this is somewhere I potentially see something going wrong. This is where I can go and help mitigate this problem. So as a super admin, this just puts you in a hot seat of understanding how the entire account works, right? So I'm going to go back into the groups, and these are the user groups that you've created for this for your users, for your organization if you're using it as a whole. So you create a group called team leaders, and you put in a few people inside, and they become your user group, right? So moving on to processes, these are this gives you an overall idea as to how many processes have gone live, how many in draft, and the total number of processes that are available in the system. And you can also take a look at all the idle processes that's been idle for the last 15 days. You can even go back to, let's say, 365 days and say, okay, you have 129 processes. You have the names. You can also go and see who are the creators and who are the admins of these processes, and you can see if there's a need for them to continue existing, or you can archive them. It's mostly up to you, but it gives you a look into the idle processes. How many public forms have been enabled, so you know that data is flowing out and inside your account, so you know who has created public forms and where is it going out. So all of these details you will be able to figure it out. You'll be able to see how many items created, submissions done, and yeah. So this is a look into processes within the governance. feature. And you can also take a look at the externally connected processes that um, uh, uh, like the one that I just did. I've connected it with Asana, I've connected it with Zero and even Salesforce. So these connect externally connected with third party applications. You can also take a look at it. So this was just created now, and well, you see it here, right? Now going on to boards, your project management tool, you have about 100 boards and you have about 90 idle boards, right? So you get a look into everything related to boards. You get a look at the unrestricted print permissions that's been given to your users, and you can also take a look at the download permissions that you've given to your users. Right now, moving on to data sets. Now these are the number of data sets that's been created within this account, right? So it helps you take a look. Now it's also a nice place to see where your master data set resides, and you want to make sure that it's not being shared with other people, because this is crucial. These data sets can be very crucial to your to the smooth running of the entire Kissflow setting system within your company. So you can take a look at it and make sure that you know who exactly is the admin and who is using this, and all the audit log for this. Sorry, I don't have an audit log here, but you get the idea. Now, just like data sets, the number of lists that have been created for flows, you will be able to take a look at it, so that there is no repetition, or there's no duplication of lists, right? Moving on to authentication keys. All and every authentication key that's ever been created and used will show up here. So you know exactly who created it and who is accessing it, and the status of these authentication keys, right? So that's it about account governance. I hope this is something that brings you a lot of joy, as much as it did for us when we came out with this feature. We are very proud of this creation, and we hope to make sure that we go a step forward in making sure that citizen development doesn't turn into shadow IT, and we want to make sure that everything that's created within the Kissflow system is beautifully managed in this single console, and you have the perfect visibility of what's happening in this account. And that's governance. Moving on to the final segment, which is an important segment in today's update, is the feature roadmap for the next couple of quarters. So to start with, we have enterprise connectors coming out soon for SAP and NetSuite. So if you're a user of this ERP and you've been struggling to connect Kissflow with SAP or NetSuite directly, well, we have a connector coming up, and this is going to make your life so much easy. In terms of external data connector, what this feature essentially does is to connect an external database, bring in the data into Kissflow without having to save that data, right? So for those of you who've been wondering about the data security, would it reside in Kissflow's servers? Now you don't have to worry about it. So we're gonna bring in a connector which will look into the data without having to save that data, right? We will also through this feature, we will also be supporting the write action to the connected database, so whatever database that you might have. Moving on to audit for apps and portals. Well, so far we have the audit logs for processes and boards, whereas for apps and portals, we are planning to bring this very soon. So that's under construction right now, and you will be able to, as app users, you will be able to see the audit logs for apps and for portal. Now, Kissflow Assist is something that I'm really happy to share with you. It's going to be a huge step for us into the AI space. When we bring in Kissflow Assist, it's an intelligent assistant feature that will provide you contextual guidance and recommendations while working on processes. It's supposed to make your decisions easier, and it's going to help your productivity much better, and it's also going to make sure that you're adhering to best practices. So you can think of Kissflow Assist as a co-pilot for Kissflow, right? Now, moving on to automation, Kissflow process workflow. So all this while we've been looking at integrations. Integrations is a completely separate sort of a feature where you go to a separate a page altogether to go get all your integrations done. We are also trying to make sure that is there a way to bring integrations within a flow, instead of going and creating integration separately between two different flows or a board. We're trying to bring integrations and automations within the flow itself. So as and when you're creating the form and fixing the workflow itself, you will be able to configure your integration and automation, and that is something that we're working on. So these are some of the top features that are coming out in the next couple of quarters, and well, I'm excited to bring them to you over the next product update. So with this, we come to an end of the product update.